Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talk About Houses. I'm Todd.
I'm Oana.
Okay, we're going to do an update for Las Vegas. We're going to call this the August sneak peek of what's going on. We're going to show everybody the August look ahead. You're going to get it before anybody because it's not actually August, very end of July. So the numbers we have are for the end of July, but when we show you the year-over-year comparisons, you're going to be blown away. We sat before the video and tried to figure out what the hell was going on.
Right. So one of us has a more enthusiastic outlook than the other one. So which one do you think that is?
All right, here we go. Okay, we're going to start with this data here. I just jumped right to real-time market profile. You can see in the very bottom market action index, we always talk about that. It's 45. It's been between 44 and 46 for about 3 months, which is a strong seller's market. You can see down there it's a strong seller's market. We're going to start with median list price at the top. Since April, it has gone up substantially. Remember, this last fall, this was like 470.
Right.
And now it's 579. It's up over 100,000. And then remember, it was 570. It was 570 last week, and now it's 578.9. So it went up $9,000 in a week, the median list price.
Right. So this is kind of deceiving a little bit, only because there's such little inventory.
Okay.
So because there's such little inventory, any movement shows up as an outsized movement. So if we had, for example, 3 times as many houses on the market, you might not see that big of a movement because of the mix, right? But because of the mix and because inventory is so low, anybody coming on the market basically has an impact on these numbers.
The other thing too is, remember, if you've had houses on the market and these are the houses, and then the bottom houses get bought, the cheaper ones, then the median list price of the remaining houses is higher because it's just the median of what's on the market. So if all the cheap houses get bought, then the median appears to go up.
Right.
Price per square, $259. It was $249 in January when we called the bottom, and we called it back in November, December. We said it would bottomed out in January. And now it looks like we're going to show you the year-over-year chart. That's going to be the surprising one. And then the rest of the numbers down there, inventories actually went up just by a hair, but when you see the overall chart, this will be more telling. So pretty interesting there. Okay, let's go with median list price. Every year, you could start with 2019, 2020. The dot is today. I highlighted today in 2022 because the 7-day average of the median list price was 529. Remember, we just said it's 579.
Right.
So it's 50,000 higher than the same. Remember, 2022 is a pretty hot market. And interest rates were still below 6% back in July. And here we are a year later with over 6% rates, and you can see that where this is going. This is kind of didn't expect this.
No.
We expected this thing to just sort of kind of fizzle, go kind of for maybe a year or two, just kind of chill out and go sideways and not do much.
Right.
Maybe decline a little bit, right? But this thing screaming, you can see how low it got and how much higher we are than in the. What do you think is going to happen with this going forward, say, for the next 6 months?
Ordinarily it would start to taper off and decline a little bit. But with the lack of inventory and with strong buyer demand, I'm less convinced of that. I really expected this year, and I've said it kind of all year long, that this was going to be kind of a stable year, not a lot of activity. And we've seen a lot of price increases. And I know everybody's talking about, but whatever. Such and such is down this much or whatever. But the numbers that we're looking at don't quite support that. So it's kind of an interesting thing between what we hear anecdotally, everybody writing in the comments, it's down 10,000 or it's down 10% or whatever, versus what the statistics actually show. So that there's kind of this conflict between what people perceive and the numbers we can prove. I'm kind of with the numbers. I'm kind of the in between, where I don't perceive a crash, and the numbers that we can prove just seem really high. So that's why my position has been that it's going to be pretty much flat, and I may be proven right by the end of the year. We'll see. But right now, I'm less convinced that I'm going to be right because we have a lot of pent-up demand, a lot of buyers who are interested in purchasing. We have very little inventory. Obviously, prices are getting pushed up. So, we were expecting that certainly by now prices would start to maybe pull back a little bit. We'd have more days on the market. We'd have more inventory. And we don't have any of those things.
Price per square foot is the next one. You can see we're almost where we were last year. This is price per square foot. You can see this chart. You can see the seasonality better, how it peaks in the spring and it declines in the fall. It's been increasing since about January. The other thing too here to notice is, look how far it would have to drop to just get back to 2019, 2020 levels. 2020, we're still in 2021, median price per square foot was a little over 225, and now we're over 250. Remember we said we're at 259.
Right.
So that's, if that's $30 a square foot more, then your 2,000 square foot house is worth $60,000 more.
Right.
Than it was in 2021, which was crazy hot market.
And there is truth in that. We are seeing that prices are higher. Like I said, part of what troubles me is that these numbers are based on such low inventory levels that I don't think that there's enough that there are enough houses in the mix to really give us a really good picture. I think that if we had more houses in the mix, then the numbers would show a more accurate picture, for lack of a better term. But this is what we have, and this is what we're working with.
Yeah. Okay. This is inventory. Okay. This one here, to me, is the one that really is a bit frightening. Okay. Now just go to last year. You can see how inventory was increasing. That's the blue dot second from the right, okay? You can see how inventory had skyrocketed from March. So basically March to August, inventory was just piling up. And you can see every year inventory tends to climb. But you can also see that, look at 21, inventory was getting ready to peak. Last year, 2022, inventory is getting ready to peak. Because remember, it starts declining in October, November. October, November, houses start coming off the market because the people that have listed their homes either pulled it off the market or buyers start coming back. Remember, buyers aren't really buying in August, September, October. They come back probably late October and start buying again.
Right.
But look at where the inventory is now and say to yourself, in 3 months, inventory is going to start declining because the next season of buyers are going to come, but they don't have anything to buy. And I think one of the things that surprises me is that, when people say, oh, but Todd, I heard the market was down 30, 40%. Numbers of sales are down.
Numbers of transactions.
Yeah, the number of homes that sold, that does not mean that, people say, oh, the market's down because of the number of, would you ever care if you were looking at Tesla stock price, how many shares transacted in a certain day?
Probably not.
Could you even tell me on any day how many shares? No, you wouldn't care. Would any news organization, would CNBC or any of these other people, Fox Business, whatever, say, oh, year over year, today, Tesla had, 46 million shares exchanged, but today there were only 32 million, so that they're down 25%. And some people see that and go, oh, Tesla must be down 25%. No, they don't care. All they talk about is the price of shares, right? Well, that's when they talk about the number of sales transactions, you naturally would think if there's less sales happening, the market's doing bad. But that's not the case. There's less sales happening, but prices are going up.
Well, that's the reason that prices are going up, is because there's such little inventory. Now, the reason for the fewer number of sales or number of transactions is because there's such low inventory. It's not because buyers are unwilling or unable to purchase. It's because there is nothing to purchase.
There was an article that Realtor.com did that basically said, the headline of it was that interest rates just peaked again when the market was right now, while the market's at its worst. But what they didn't mean was worst in a bad market. They just meant worse for low numbers of sales. Right. So when I was looking at the article, I was like, wait, this realtor.com, and it was like a Today article. So I went and I read back and read the article, and I think it's kind of one of those, headline they're trying to get people to read it, but it clearly wasn't. They even acknowledged that inventory is as low as it's been, and there's not enough homes for people to buy.
So I think what they meant is that it's the worst for real estate agents because there are so few transactions and so many real estate agents, so there are fewer transactions to go around.
There are more real estate agents in the U.S. than homes listed in the MLS nationwide.
Well, so to give you perspective, just in Clark County, we have nearly 20,000 real estate licensees.
Look what the inventory is, 2,256, I think. It's 2,200.
So that kind of makes you understand what we're talking about. I mean, it's very difficult for real estate people to make a living at the moment because there just are not enough transactions to go around.
Unless you have a bunch of luxury listings that sell for a ton of money.
Unless. That could be true.
Okay, so Oana, let's talk about the fall. Last year, I correctly predicted October, November, December, January would be the best time to buy.
Yes.
Because there'd be a lot. And if you look at the chart, I nailed it. I'm actually going to go back and find the video where I said that, because the video was from like June or July of last year. And I picked those 4 months, and those ended up being the time. Now, the other thing too is, remember, the people buying right now mostly are cash buyers. Like, it's overwhelmingly cash buyers below 400,000.
Right.
So where do you see? Let's talk about the fall. What does the fall look like if inventory doesn't go up? And then what does the beginning of next year look like if inventory doesn't go up and and interest rates drop?
If inventory doesn't go up and interest rates drop, you're going to see inventory drop, because what homes there are out there that aren't completely hideous are going to get purchased.
There's a lot of people still parking cash. We were talking about today to maybe pick up 3 or 4 more rentals and have, and just collect rent on them. But prices are kind of high. It'd be nice to go out and grab a bunch of $250,000 houses, but they're not out there right now.
Well, not in this market. I'm sure that they're out there, but just not in this market.
They're not out in the current market that's happening right now. Matter of fact, there was an area we looked at. We were like looking for rentals, and there were literally 0 houses listed in like this massive subdivision. There was nothing listed at all. And there's always like, 10 or 15 houses to pick from in there. It's a ton of houses. There was nothing, nothing showed up. Yep.
And this is pretty typical. I mean, if you're looking for a house for sale, it's hard to find one. And then if you do find it, if it's a good house, it has interest. If it's not a good house, then that's the reason why it doesn't have interest. But good houses are selling. And that happens in every market, right? If it's a good product, people are interested in buying.
And I think the number of homes sold is actually lower than it really is, because I think there's remember, those numbers are MLS numbers.
Right.
They're taken from MLSs. I think there's off-market transactions happening where people are just saying, hey, I'm going to sell my house, and they call their agent, and the agent says, how about if I've already got a buyer who will buy your house?
Right.
And let's just do a flat fee. I'll just do the paperwork. We're just going to do it, and it'll happen in 2 weeks. He'll pay cash for it. Right.
So that happens a lot, particularly in the high end, where somebody will say, hey, I want to buy this type of property, and we kind of look around and go, okay, where is this property? And we locate a couple properties that fit that description, and we basically contact those sellers and say, hey, I know you're not interested in selling, but if you were interested in selling, we've got a buyer. This is the number. What do you think? And you'd be surprised. A lot of times people will say, well, I hadn't thought about selling, but for that number, you got it. So here are the keys, wire the money, and let's go.
I like it.
So you'd be surprised. I mean, particularly in the high end, this happens all the time. And the houses are sold complete, meaning the people take their toothbrush with them, their clothes, and nothing else. Everything else stays, and that's it.
One last question before we end the video. What is the price point at which over half of, because in everything under like 400,000, they take everything. The house is empty. Right. Almost never leave stuff behind.
Right.
At what price point, is it 2 million, 5 million? do literally when the people move out, they don't take anything. They don't like take any of their furnishings, anything.
Right.
They just leave them for the next person.
So, you know, kind of ballpark, 5 million and above, they don't tend to take anything.
They just above 5 million, they just leave whatever's there is
Yeah, I mean,
sold
like
with the house.
we're talking like the towels, the sheets, everything. They just stay, everything. Like I said, that they take their toothbrush and their clothes, and that's it.
Okay.
It's pretty amazing. And what's really amazing about it is that the buyers, even though they want all those things, when they go in there, they tend to do a complete renovation, so it all goes away anyway. So
Do you
I think that's
a lot of them
interesting.
do that on? I mean, these homes are pretty spectacular.
They are spectacular, yes.
We'll have to do a whole video on this.
Yes. So we'll have to talk about that another time. But this is your market update for July 31st. We hope you enjoyed it. Hope you didn't mind our meandering at the end. So tell us what you think, what's happening in your market, and where you're watching from. Please remember to like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share the video, leave us love notes, be nice to one another in the comments, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.
Bye.